welcome to
Where time stands still.
Where Time Stands Still.
No one leaves and no one will.
Tonight we're going to have a cocktail. I'm not going to use as much Tabasco. Remember last night we kept on coughing because
he was killing us with his scientific experiment.
Did it with that last night. So we're going to have cranberry drink again.
And come on in.
Come on in.
Hopefully our troll hunters will be popping on in soon. And while we're waiting for everybody to get in here and get started, Jack is creating another one of his mocktail concoctions.
This is just
there. His drink mixes have dual purposes.
Got the teal tonight.
One is to be goodness
Sorry, it's not.
And keep us Tapatio. And to keep us moist during our live. But also, I have been battling a horrific cold or allergies. Not sure exactly what it is. I don't like to admit to being sick, so I'm going to keep insisting it's allergies. I'm allergic to the weather, I tell you. And so he's.
Oh, we do have honey, actually.
Creating some stuff.
We had honey, yes. I didn't bring it to the mixing area.
And I'm all about holistic treatments, and all natural remedies, stuff like that. I guess I'm a retro hippie. I don't know. I don't know what you would call me now. I'm not from the original hippie movement, obviously, and I also get entirely too angry about certain things and stand my ground and all this other stuff. So in some ways, I'm a hippie, and in other ways, I am not peaceful enough.
What's wrong, Julez? Too much true crime.
I was just remember I went off on a rant yesterday. I'm going to try to deliver you information this time without going too much onto the rant.
Get that number one if we got good audio. We brought on a new microphone.
Yeah, I got this little fuzzy microphone right here, and hopefully you can hear me better than you could. But also, I'm going to have to make Jack wear it if I start coughing on you guys, because that'll make it really bad if I start coughing. I'm sure of it.
Anyways, I have made this little drink for you. There you go.
Are you going to try it first, or I have to be guinea pig first?
My wife.
Oh, dear. Let's see. What do you guys think? Should I?
I hope it's not as spicy. That was not fun. I had to get up and leave the recording area. It's good, huh?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah, just the right amount of warmth, I think. Unless I start choking right now, and then I'm like, oh, never mind. A little bit too much. But,
and before we get started, it's still got too much. Still got too much spicy.
See that?
Come up here so I can read the comments.
See that? I fooled him, guys. I kept.
She lied.
I got all stoic, and I'm like, it's not too spicy. And I'm like, oh, you're.
We have Harry the Platypus as our coughing guard tonight. So he'll be a good addition tonight. Oh, you're right.
Harry.
Microphone.
Yeah, so you better not have that on me, or I'm going to try to turn away. Anyway,
tonight we're going to talk about hodgepodge of different stories.
Yeah, I've actually got a hodgepodge of different stories. I decided to have Jack put the three musical entertainers that I'm going to discuss in today's current events type deal on there, and that's going to be P. Diddy, David Draiman, and Katy Perry. But also we're going to talk about Jacqueline Torres Garcia, the 12-year-old girl who was missing over a year without being reported missing, and then her remains were recently found, and her mom's boyfriend, and her mom and her aunt have all been charged in that. So we'll discuss that horrible case, and what woulda, coulda, shoulda been done. Then we'll pop over and
notes right there. Is that for public?
it just says Tom Morello, Rage Against the Machine.
Tom Morello, Rage Against the Machine.
And
I don't know if you guys like.
And the thing that was really, well, one thing is one of Rage Against the Machine's songs was actually dedicated to Leonard Peltier, and but the reason why I wrote down Tom Morello is because I thought it was really funny because I don't know who all on here might listen to Sirius Radio and be aware of Jose Mangan, who is one of my favorite DJs, and he was talking about how he went back and visited his University of Arizona stomping grounds and went to the radio station there where he worked at that radio station when he went to the university there. And anyway, he went there and he knocked on the door, and one of the student employees saw him and got student DJ and got incredibly excited, was so excited and was like, "You're Tom Morello!" And he said, "No, I'm not." And she goes, "But you're somebody." And he said, "Yeah, I am." So anyway,
this is a true crime channel. Even if it's
sounds
like it's not.
Yeah,
it is.
But it's true crime, current events, and a little bit of just jacking me out. Well, I'm Julez, by the way. A little bit of us being us, and our lifestyle stuff too, like these drinks and living on the road, and also we're Another Day in the Car. We're the crew, and so another crew member is our son, who is an adult who plays guitar, who is sometimes on here too with us, and he also follows true crime and conspiracy theories and stuff.
Oh yeah,
and so anyway, another topic that we're going to discuss Adam Montgomery, that POS dad that disallowed his own daughter in December of, I believe it was 2019.
Yeah, she was missing for a year.
And, she was missing a long time before anybody reported her missing. The family had been living in a car, just horrific stuff. Anyway, we're going to talk about him and the fact that he has filed an appeal to his conviction and to his sentence of 56 years. And let's see, and then we're going to talk about P. Diddy, and we're going to talk about a case in Wichita, which is another POS. How about that? Imagine that. But it's one of the almost borders on my strange but true crimes that occur. That, like, I brought you the naked grandma story where a woman had gotten home from work in Virginia and got home early because she suspected that her husband was having an affair. What she wasn't suspecting was that he was actually knocking boots with her grandma, and she caught her husband and naked her grandma in the act. And and so she took off. He ran after her, and she was in her 4x4, and she knocked him down, and she ran over him a few times. He survived
24 times.
And grandma ran out there in her negligee and everything out there on the street for everybody to see. Quite the to-do there in Virginia. Virginia's for lovers, don't you know?
Okay.
Anyway, then we'll talk a little bit of David Draiman. And so, do we have anybody in here yet?
Yes, we have 10 people. We have our troll hunting moderators.
All right.
Like you like, and hit the subscribe button because we are destined to hit 10,000 subs at some point. Hopefully before January 1.
Yeah, and some people say that we should be trying for Christmas time, but
you can always
might be a big ask.
Yeah, you can always change your mind later if you don't like us.
Anyhow. Or you can change your mind and decide you do like us and stay subscribed.
Yeah,
imagine that.
Too.
Anyway, I think I'm going to start with Jacqueline because that was also a request. I hadn't even heard of this case until last night when one of the viewers, one of you guys,
was a moderator.
Or a moderator.
Yeah.
moderator said, could you look into this case and bring it to the channel?
Put your request in there. Put your request in the comment section.
So he went and checked it out. Jacqueline Torres Garcia was 12 years old, and I guess that actually made her be 11 when she was disallowed. Farmington, Connecticut. And what happened there is that she was missing, but nobody knew she was missing because in August of last year, August 2024, she had been attending the same school district from kindergarten through 5th grade. And then her family told the school district that they were going to be homeschooling her. So while I am a huge proponent of homeschooling, I also am not stupid. And I think that sometimes people need to follow through more on this kind of thing and make sure that homeschooling is actually happening and it's not being used as an excuse to cover up a crime. Anyhow, because a lot of times, I could go off on a big old tangent about why I feel that homeschooling is better for a lot of kids, especially kids with learning differences, kids on the spectrum, stuff like that. At home is actually their least restrictive environment for learning. But that was not the case for poor Jacqueline.
Yeah, poor thing.
Jacqueline was the subject of prolonged abuse and neglect. And her own mother, her mother's boyfriend, and her aunt are the ones that are charged in this. They were all living together in a townhouse condominium, and also her younger sister lived with them. The younger sister has now been placed in protective custody. But neighbors originally had thought that they had seen this young woman, child, and tried to help her when she's taking out the trash, carrying out trash bags that were way too heavy for her. But then they figured out that this was actually the younger sister and that they had not seen Jacqueline in a very long time. Anyway, New Britain, Connecticut is that the one where they were where she was found, or is that where she moved from?
That's where they moved to.
Where they moved to. Okay. So it was determined that Jacqueline actually died in the fall of 2024. She had been taken out of public school that August, and her friends lost touch with her shortly after that. They were stating that they all used to like to play Roblox together, and that that one of their big jokes was that Jacqueline often died in Roblox, and and I found that really sad because that reminded me, for a number of reasons, but also same aged child, Gannon Stauch, who was murdered by his stepmother in Colorado Springs, Colorado. He was 11 years old when he was murdered, and he had posted a video on YouTube of himself playing a video game. And one of the last things you hear on that video game is his cute little voice going, "Oh, I died." And then, so,
he loved his games.
Yeah. Anyway, so Jacqueline, was a normal kid, had friends, liked to play video games, and had a horrific home life that either she was unaware that her home life was not normal, or she just had such loyalty that she did not share what was going on. But the abuse and neglect included starvation, and they figured that out from her size and everything when they recovered her body. Anyway, what they have been able to determine so far is that she lost her life at that original house over in the fall of 2024, and at that time, her remains were placed into a plastic tub, which seems to be like a favorite of a lot of different
lot of
people
guys.
that unalive people. Anyway, and then they placed that plastic tub in the basement, which apparently was a shared common space storage and whatnot area for people that lived in those townhouses. But nobody opened that tub. Then when the family moved in I wrote down when they moved, but then the family moved in March of 2025 to the New Britain location. And when they moved, they took that plastic tub with them. And then what happened was, after moving to the New Britain location, there was a call into the police because people noticed that there was a suspicious person in the backyard of an abandoned home, a boarded up home that's near where this family lived. And so police went to investigate this intruder at the abandoned home, and they discovered the plastic tub with the remains inside. And most of the investigation, the records are sealed until October 28th of this year. So we don't know the full horrific extent of it. Sorry.
Use Perry.
Yeah,
Mhm.
probably not at the moment though. Anyway, residents of both areas say that these were quiet, nice neighborhoods where people didn't even lock their doors or anything, and then to have something this horrific happen right in their midst. In the one, it's where the child was, treated so horribly and then lost her life. And then in the other, it's where this new family moves in and seems to everybody to be a normal family. And then they're holding this secret where they have taken the life of one of their own children and just stashed her in a plastic tub and then tried to leave her in the backyard of an abandoned home. And then where'd I go? Anyway, the mom in this case is Carla Rosalie Garcia, and she is 29 years old, and she's been charged with both unaliving and conspiracy to commit unaliving, and with special circumstances, and first degree unlawful restraint, and intentional cruelty to a child, and tampering with an unalived person, and with physical evidence, and violation of requirements related to the disposal of a deceased human being. And then the boyfriend is Jonathan Nanita. He is 30 years old, and his charges are the same as the mom. And then the aunt is Jacqueline Garcia also, but her age is 28, and her charges aren't as serious as the other two. Hers, as far as I can tell, are intentional cruelty to a child, and something else related to that. Yeah, mean auntie. And anyway, so that's Aunt Jacqueline, and so the deceased child, Jacqueline, was known as Mimi.
That's right.
And And so on October 28th, we are going to learn more about this horrific case. But, I'd love to have a discussion on this because, among other things, I feel that we should all be the advocates for children, not just the children in our own families, but also the children in our neighborhoods, the children that we see walking to school every day or playing in their yards or whatever. We need to be more, we need to be friendlier people. We need to step back to an age where we knew our neighbors, we talked to our neighbors, offered cookies or help or whatever, and just step in there and be a help, not a hindrance. I am so saddened and horrified by all these different cases where people are like, oh yeah, I remember that kid, I saw that kid, and all of a sudden that kid wasn't there anymore, and now it turns out that kid's dead, or that kid's been missing a long time and nobody knows where they are, and it just isn't right. And then also, I believe in advocacy big time, and I believe in finding proper resources for people that need them and proper placements, educational wise, for children. Like if it's like a huge stumbling block for kids with special needs is in the public school. Public schools are business entities.
Institutions.
They have budgets. And while it's not legal per se to be like, okay, well, that kid's needs aren't going to be met because it's not in the budget. It's not legal to say that, but that's what happens. And so sometimes the best thing to do is to homeschool the child. There are a lot of different ways to go about that. There are a lot of organizations where parents can get mentorship through it, or there's online public schools that are free to parents in some states. There's a whole lot that can be done to help these kids. The problem is when there are these other type of people who claim to be homeschooling their children and are not. And I think in those cases, it is just due diligence to go ahead and be a bitch and be like, is this kid actually getting an education? And while as a parent, when I was homeschooling, I probably would have been a little bit miffed or put out a bit that I have to, like answer to somebody coming and saying, hey, are you actually homeschooling your kid? I mean, like, well, whose business is it? But I would have had the proof that that's what I was doing, and I would have been able to show that that's what I was doing. And, and if it was brought to my attention that this was done because somebody was concerned and wanted to make sure that my kid was okay, well, you know what? I'd be fine with that. I'd be like, oh, okay, you actually care about my kid and wanted to make sure that my kid was okay.
I think
I understand that.
There's homeschool groups in almost every city.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there are, and so there's a whole lot of networking and stuff that can be done, and I'm just sickened that somehow this little girl was missing over the year with nobody checking in on her, and so that's all I've got for tonight on Jacqueline. Like I said, I'll be waiting for October 28th to find out more of the horribleness on that case. And speaking of the horribleness of that case, that's what makes me segue into Adam Montgomery. Now, some people,
underage story.
Yeah, and some people may already know about this case, but I'll try to make it very short and to the point. But Adam Montgomery was the father of a little girl named Harmony. Adam and Harmony's mother were split up. Adam had custody of the little one, And Adam had remarried a woman named Kayla, and Adam and Kayla had substance use issues, and also Adam was not a nice person whatsoever, and the family didn't realize, the extended family, like Adam's brother and such, didn't realize exactly how awful Adam was, and they wish that they had stepped in, wish that they had been a bit more pushy because of having noticed Harmony having a black eye and things like that. She's a cute little girl. But anyway, they didn't step in, they didn't ask more questions. And Kayla and Adam and Harmony, and I believe a little sibling, ended up living in their car. And they lived in their car in the wintertime and often would park behind apartments and stuff. And there was actually other street people and even their drug dealer who were concerned about the condition that the kids were in, but didn't go forward and in hindsight wish they had. They were like, well, I could have even been anonymous. I could have called it in and make sure the kids were going to be okay, but I didn't think of doing that, and I wish I had. Anyway, so eventually, like it's turned out that Harmony Montgomery lost her life on December 7th, 2019. At that time, Harmony, due to all the horrific circumstances and stuff like that, and being a little 5-year-old, she had an incontinence problem. And according to Adam's wife, Kayla, who testified against him in court, at that time, he hit her too hard because she said that, he often hit her if she wet herself. She wet herself. It made the whole car stink, and he hit her, and she went unconscious, and then she was making weird noises, and then they figured out she wasn't making noise anymore. And then Kayla claims that she saw Adam fold Harmony up and put her in a suitcase, and then he stashed her in a crawl space in a rooming house, that a homeless shelter type rooming house thing that they stayed in for a little while. And then they took the suitcase with them when they moved out someplace else. And I recall
more
that
moving of
more moving
remains.
around. Her remains have never been found, but cadaver dogs and such did alert, and they were able to tell that parts of Kayla's story were corroborated by the scents and stuff that was like in the crawl space and above that room and such. Anyway, it wasn't until December 31st of 2021 that enough people were realizing that they had not seen or heard anything from Harmony, that a well-being check was done, and then the police got involved, and then Harmony was reported as missing. But at that time, she'd been deceased for 2 years. So it took quite a bit to unravel the case. And then in October of 2022, Adam was charged with the disaliving of Harmony. And on February 22nd, 2024, Adam was convicted by a jury, and he was then sentenced to 56 years in prison. Now, his appeal was heard, or the beginning of his appeal has been heard. We don't know what's going to happen yet on the appeal, but we knew the day that he was convicted and the day that he was sentenced that his attorney was going to be filing these appeals for him. And we now know the nature of the appeals, or the grounds the appeals. First off, first sticking point that his defense attorney is stating is that the defense attorney is stating that Kayla Montgomery, the stepmother of Harmony, who testified against Adam, should not have been allowed to testify due to credibility issues, and because she was with Adam during all this, so that would kind of like make her be an accomplice or whatever. So they're saying that her testimony shouldn't have been allowed, although the prosecution says that Kayla's testimony was crucial to this case and by all means, definitely needed to be heard. But Adam's attorneys are saying that Kayla's testimony was too prejudicial against him, and that it made the jury dislike him. And the next sticking point for them was they said there should have been 2 separate trials for him. There should have been one for the unaliving and a separate trial for the I don't know if I'm allowed to say that word, but the salt, the salt without pepper on this little girl. I'll just go ahead and say it.
No.
No? Okay.
No, you'll get bad
Well,
things.
they're saying that those 2 charges should have been 2 separate trials because putting them together prejudiced the jury against him, because like that if he did the one, he probably did the other, and so they felt that with the jury hearing evidence of both things, that they would definitely decide that he was guilty of both things. So they think that those should have been said differently. And they said that the cop's body cam footage should not have been shown in court because it makes people not like Adam. It prejudiced the jury against him.
This is what happened. It was recorded.
Yeah, this is what happened. It was recorded. They got to hear what he had to say. They got to see how he acted. They got to see how he was. But they said, well, that makes the jury prejudiced against them. That makes them not like him. And that makes them more likely to convict him. That should not have been allowed.
If people like you and I insist on having our cameras out recording the police, then we would expect the police to be recording as well.
Yeah.
Because I know when
they're not complaining that it was that they had the footage or anything. They're just complaining that the footage was shown at trial. They're complaining that the jury got to see the footage because they're thinking that the jury shouldn't have been allowed to see the footage. And I'm thinking to myself,
I wonder why.
Okay, because Adam admitted to a lot of the things and blamed Harmony for his reactions and how he treated Harmony. And now he's saying, well, now that I've been sitting in jail and I'm sober, I think that people shouldn't have seen me when I wasn't sober and being my typical self. I think they shouldn't have seen me like that because that would make them not like me.
You used to be a bad man.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's another one of the arguments. And then another piece of news in that case is that there had been a civil suit filed against Adam by Crystal, who is Harmony's biological mom, but that wrongful death suit has been dropped due to Crystal missing a deadline, paperwork deadline. But it's not like she would actually get anything out of Adam anyway, and nothing's going to bring Harmony back anyway. But anyway, what do you guys think of this ridiculous appeals process and how people convicted of these horrific crimes can go and appeal and waste more taxpayer money and waste more time by appealing their convictions and such?
They're going to get it,
especially in that country,
into the courtroom. I mean, they just do it to break up the day.
Yeah, it seems like. Anyway. Now,
this one's less violent stuff.
Yeah, and this one isn't actually a crime per se. I think that it's just distasteful, and that's that Katy Perry is dating Justin Trudeau, the former prime minister in Canada, and he is not very well liked by the First Nations people in Canada.
No.
You can go ahead and Google the reasons why and whatnot. So I just think it's gross that she's dating him, and so that's how come I put
But
her
she
on
had the other guy, the actor guy.
She had two different actor guys. She had Russell Brand, who then ended up having some legal issues of his own and stuff. So it's not surprising that she ended up divorcing him. And then, and then she was Perry, and then she was together with Orlando Bloom, and they have a daughter. And Orlando Bloom, he's the Legolas, the elf. From the Hobbit movies that we've got. The elf guy. Okay, Will Turner.
The elf
The
guy.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Will Turner.
Yeah.
Disney
Anyway.
movie.
Yeah.
Ah.
Anyway, it appears that he cheated on her though. So
No, dude, what?
So he cheated on her, and now
Why would he
she's
do
dating
such a
Justin
thing?
Trudeau.
You had Katy Perry, dude.
Yeah.
Well, how do you do better than that? Who's he with now?
I don't know, because I just had my jaws drop at that she's dating Justin
It's
Trudeau.
amazing that these famous people.
Yeah.
I think it's all in their managers and their handlers who they end up dating and stuff. What do you think?
Yeah, it could be.
Justin.
Like managers and handlers.
A picture of him and her on the yacht, obviously.
On her yacht off the coast of
Obviously,
Santa
it's her
Barbara,
yacht.
California. And he's standing there all naked from the waist up, wearing a pair of jeans, and she's in her swimsuit, and they're embracing.
Oh, yeah.
And he's got his hand on her butt cheek, and it's like, well, that's a hard launch to the relationship. I mean, that definitely is
Everybody
showing
knows
that
now.
everybody knows now. Yeah.
I knew there was going to be cameras. And he has little children, too.
And he's lucky to have her.
Who we got to talk about
Actually, if he has
next,
her.
dude?
And now we'll go to P. Diddy.
Also, that
Who?
was just to finish up with David Draiman.
Yeah, he'll be next after P. Diddy, because P. Diddy's,
More light stuff in here, guys.
his is actual related to a criminal case and stuff like that. David Draiman is another one where it's more that he's guilty of extremely poor taste. Anyway, Diddy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We don't know yet. The judge hasn't ruled yet on whether or not Diddy can do his hard time at Fort Dix. This isn't about Fort Dix. This is about, it's been made public now, what's going to happen when Diddy finishes however much of his sentence that he's going to have to serve out. Because the next portion of his punishment or rehabilitation, or both, whatever you want to call it, is that he's going to be on parole. And he's going to be on parole for 5 years once he gets out of prison. And if he violates his parole, he can be put back in prison. And then there'd be other charges as well of like breaking parole and whatnot. But anyway, just looking at some of the conditions of parole, and I'm thinking to myself, Diddy's not going to like this very much, because he seems to very much like to be the one calling the shots. He likes to be in charge of everything himself, and he doesn't like to have to ask permission or follow rules or anything like that. Yeah. And so, of course, rule number 1 is a no-brainer, but I'm wondering how easy it's going to be for him, because for 5 years, he is not to commit any federal, state, or local crimes.
That means as simple as speeding, too.
Yeah, no breaking local ordinances. No, keeping your trash can out too long on the street or whatever. Yeah. That's a local crime. Anyway, he is not to possess any controlled substances. He's not to use any controlled substances. He has to submit to a test within 15 days of his release from prison. And then he's going to have at least 2 random tests as determined by the court during the 5 years afterwards. And that's at least two. At least two. Okay. And, they're telling him there's going to be 2 minimum. But, but other stuff is not on that list. It's in this other stuff stating that I don't. Where'd Perry go? is that at any time his parole agent is going to
I guess Perry
be
walked
able to.
away.
His parole agent is going to be able to pop in to his place of residence. His parole agent is going to be able to at any time say, "Hey, you know,
Time to go pee.
yeah, time to go pee," and that's not included in those two. Because with the parole agent, it's anytime he feels like it or she feels like it, he's going to have to test, and he's going to have to be subject to search, and he's going to have to allow wherever he's lived to be searched. And it's also drawn up in the paperwork stating that any roommates, any people living in the same residence, in the same building with Diddy, are also going to be subject to search. And Diddy's going to have to submit his DNA when he goes into parole. He has to submit DNA to the parole office and everything so that they can have record of his DNA.
He doesn't have that on file yet?
Well, he probably does, but not with the parole agency, so he has to put it in again with the with his parole agency ID and all that stuff, and and his DNA card and all that. And then also other terms of his release are that he has to complete violent offender programs, and he must live in an authorized federal district where he will report to his parole agent, and he has to get authorized permission prior to moving in. Before he gets released from prison, he has to state where he's going to live, get permission to live there, and they have to go and inspect the place and meet anybody that he's expected to live with before
Karen
he moves
wants
in.
to know if he has to go wee-wee in front of his parole agent.
Oh yeah, definitely.
What do you guys think about this? Put some more questions in here.
And then from that point on, he also has to contact the parole agent at least 10 days before any proposed changes to his living conditions, including where he's going to live, or like if he wants to leave town for a few days or anything like that. He has to give at least 10 days notice and get permission from the parole agent, give his complete agenda, and get the permission. He can't do it if he doesn't get permission. And then he also is subject to random visits by the PO. And he also has to do 30 hours a week of lawful employment, unless he gets written permission from his PO to be excused from that due to his age.
But he's a musician, isn't he?
Well, he needs to be lawfully and gainfully employed, which also goes to the next thing, which is he can have no communication with any person who has been convicted of or is engaged in criminal activity without permission from his PO. So, like, if he happens to know or work with somebody who has ever had a conviction, he has to get written permission from the PO, or he gets violated if he is.
Parolees are not to hang out with other parolees.
Yeah, but this is even if it's somebody that's already done their time, completed their parole and everything. If they have a record, he cannot communicate with them without permission. Yeah, that's what it said exactly in the whole thing.
But I don't think that's any different than anybody else.
No, it's not. But see, that's just the point. Is Diddy thinks he's different from everybody else, and here he's being told, "Dude, you're gonna have to follow the same rules as everybody else." Anyway, and then of course he has to inform his roommates that they are subject to search and seizure, just the same as he is if they are in his if they're in his residence, or his guests who are in his residence at the time that a parole agent chooses to enter his abode. Whoever's in there is subject to search and seizure. So that's the Diddy stuff.
Oh,
But
we don't have
Diddy's
anybody here tonight. Looks like it's
Diddy's
just the moderators.
Diddy's being humbled. Man,
Diddy.
Diddy's being humbled.
Mm-hmm. Did you finish with Diddy?
Yeah, I'm finished with Diddy.
What do we got left?
Draiman.
David Draiman from Disturbed. You guys listen to Disturbed?
And
Like and subscribe, please.
And
smash the like button, guys. Only got 7 likes.
I used to love this guy's music. I mean, his music's still okay, but I used to support this guy, and I used to enjoy going to his concerts and did not mind the amount of money that I spent taking myself and my family guests to his concerts. And I didn't regret it at the time. But this guy has been too public in his opinions on certain areas that tends to alienate other people, and also tends to contradict what he seems to be being all about in the concert.
All about the family.
All about the family, all about kids, all about all kids, all people, all families. Used to be what it was all about. And so it seemed like, this guy was all about the love, the understanding. Didn't seem like, he seemed like he'd be more of a person to be a peace activist or something like me. So I thought, wow, this is really cool. Peace activist guy, cool concerts, great pyrotechnics, etc., etc. And then came the photo of him signing a large piece of artillery that was then fired into a zone where there are civilians, there are people, there are children, there are hospitals, and he's signing that. So that seems to be like condoning war rather than being pro-peace.
Sing about war.
And he doesn't sing about war. He sings about peace. He sings about, So anyway, his political stance in recent years has gotten more and more radical and more like only supporting certain people and certain children and not wanting safety and peace for all children. So anyway, that led to, in this July, at Ozzy's last concert, it was the Back to the Beginning concert, and there were like all-star bands and stuff giving tribute to Ozzy. And when David Draiman took the stage to grab the microphone to sing Sweet Leaf, there was audible booing. And this is like Ozzy's farewell. This is supposed to be in honor of Ozzy. So I am not for anybody's concert experience being ruined or anything like that. And I think Ozzy was a perfect gentleman by, his only comment that he made about that was just, this was not the place for booze. But, he didn't give an opinion one way or another, just saying that this concert, this venue, this, because it was also a charity concert and everything too. And it's not the place for booze. Then later on, Youngblood.
Yes, Youngblood.
He was asked.
I know our viewers are talking
his
about
opinion
Youngblood.
And, about the whole David Draiman thing. And Youngblood, also pure class, doesn't go into politics or anything, just says, about David Draiman, quote, can't say I support the guy. And he says it has nothing to do with the music or anything. I just can't say I support the guy. And so currently, it is now confirmed that the Disturbed concert in Brussels that was scheduled for October 15th has been canceled by police order over safety concerns, and that all purchases are being refunded to everyone that bought tickets to this Disturbed concert.
It's not just Disturbed.
Yeah, and it's not just Disturbed. There's Megadeth and
I don't know who else is playing on that
I don't
ticket.
remember who else on the ticket, but I think that the other performers might still be there. It's just that Disturbed will not be there.
Uh,
So anyone that bought tickets specifically to see Disturbed, their tickets are going to be refunded.
I want to know what
And
Dave Mustaine has to say about this.
and what is going on with this is all in response to the large artillery shell being signed by David Draiman, and that there were a lot of people that were very concerned about this, and eventually some trades unions said that they were going to protest the concert, and then because there was the threat of protest, that raised up safety concerns, and that's what allowed for the police order. Because the other thing is that at first people weren't sure what they were going to be able to do about it, because they don't want to be messing with anybody's freedom of speech. But also, there's a fine line between freedom of speech and inflammatory speech, where what you say or do can inflame other people to like inflict pain and stuff on other people.
Yeah, like that other guy does.
And
From
so
what you talked about last night.
yeah. So there's that on the David Draiman. And now I will hop on over to our, what do we want to call it? Our strange but true crime. A grandma crime.
Another grandma.
Only this time, grandma didn't make it. Right. And this case took place in Wichita, Kansas. A 24-year-old man named Isaiah Lankite. Lankite? I don't know. Lankite? Isaiah has found himself in a whole lot of trouble because Isaiah's a jerk.
Yes.
And Isaiah was doing laundry at grandma's house in Wichita, Kansas. And grandma criticized him.
Well, you know how grandmas are.
Yeah. Well, probably she was just, teaching him how to do laundry properly. But anyway, grandma criticized him about the way he was doing laundry. So first, he struck her in the face, smacked grandma, knocked her back, knocked her down. Then he grabbed a kitchen knife and he went after grandma. And
come here. Come here. What are you doing? Come here. It's this cat again.
In order to not, that's Shug. And in order to not get demonetized for saying what he said, I'm just going to say he poked her repeatedly.
In the neck.
In the neck.
With a sharp object.
Mm-hmm. And she was still conscious at the scene when responders and law enforcement arrived. And she wasn't expected to not make it because it seemed that she was going to be okay. She was able to talk. She was eating and everything. And she was just saying, my grandson did this. And
well, because she said he sees and hears demons.
Yeah, she says he sees and hears demons that tell him to do stuff. And that he was talking about how he wanted to go back to jail and some other stuff. And anyway, she was actually concerned about him. Her name's Elvira. But then 3 days later, she didn't make it because she had an underlying lung disease that caused her not to be able to survive those wounds that she had gotten.
And he was already arrested before she didn't make it.
Yeah. And, at that time, he was...
I think she would have made it if he didn't poke her in the throat.
Yeah, and at that time, he was arrested on domestic charges and a second-degree attempt of unaliving his grandma. Not certain how those charges are going to look now that grandma didn't make it.
Well, that's not going to go well for him.
Yeah.
Don't slap your grandma, even though there's a country song that talks about that.
Is that sweet potato pie shut my mouth song?
Slap your grandma, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know country music very well,
You
but I
guys
do
know the
recall
country songs,
hearing
let us
that.
know.
Back before we had Sirius radio, and we'd go on road trips and we'd go through areas and we'd be going through the dial.
Harry.
Trying to find anything to listen to on the radio. And sometimes it was country music, and there were some weird country.
Well, that's just because we're looking in from the outside.
Yeah, okay. That's a given. I'm a metalhead. I don't really understand the country music. But if there's nothing else on,
Remember one time
I do listen to it.
Remember that?
Yeah.
That was a completely different trip.
Yeah, and I was cracking up too because there's different types of country music and stuff too. Because of course I know Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson and those classics and stuff. But then there's other stuff that makes me go, what? So
mamas, don't let your babies grow up to be
oil field workers.
No, cowboys is the answer you're looking for.
Oh, okay.
I saw it in the comments.
Oh, okay.
I don't know who does that song. Is that Willie?
I don't know, but I know that one thing that cracked me up. I think it was a Toby Keith song, but I'm not sure. But there was some, or no, maybe it wasn't Toby Keith. I don't know who it is, but there's
Keith
some.
Urban, maybe.
No, it's some song about a chick wearing tight pants, and they're talking about her walking, and they're going left, 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 right, left.
That's back away when we used to watch TV, dude. Remember? A country music TV station.
Yeah.
How about the Blues Brothers when they played that country song?
Oh my God, that was so cool. I watched Blues Brothers and the Blues Brothers did Rawhide.
Hit 'em up.
Hit 'em up. Rawhide. That was good. And so I'm familiar with different types of music, but I have my metal preferences.
Journey says, love that song. Left, right.
Yeah, and
that was a line dance song. Yes.
Maybe I don't know. I know that my mom listens to that kind of stuff. My mom did line dancing and all that stuff.
Like Beverly?
Oh, the performer D'Angelo didn't make it. I don't know how or anything like that. I just remember that Jay showed me earlier today just a thing saying R.I.P. D'Angelo. And no, it's not Beverly D'Angelo. It's a guy.
Oh, it's not Beverly.
No.
It's not from Chevy Chase movie, said.
No.
The wife.
Although I don't know her status. I haven't she hasn't crossed my radar, so I don't know. But yeah, the person that they're talking about is
wasn't she
a guy.
78? Oh, it's a dude.
He's a dude. Yes.
I don't know who this is. Is it a criminal?
No. He's a musician.
Oh. Thanks for putting that. Yes, it's a dance. Tell us some crimes you guys want to talk about. I've been in here almost an hour now.
I imagine I managed not to die on Tabasco tonight. Yay!
Roots Quest Love. I do not know this. You've stumped the host.
What was it?
I don't know. He did that stuff with the Roots.
Oh, the Roots. Don't.
You know that.
Yeah, I just didn't realize the name. Okay. Oh wow, that's sad.
I did not know that. Here, finish this up. It's down to the cranberry section now. It's really sweet. I drank like the whole thing and I had to fill it up again. Just in an hour. Story. Something.
Take the thingy for a second because I'm about to have to use Perry. Go.
You know what? It probably picks up right through your skin. It probably.
Oh, probably. I probably just blew all you guys' eardrums out. But yeah. I tried to play it cool. And I was all happy because I got an ice cube with that last drink. But the ice cubes that he's got are these like cool little ice cubes that they're shaped like little cups. And it was like a cup full of Tabasco sauce.
Nice.
Yeah, that got me pretty. I pranked myself.
What song is it you're talking about? Band and everything.
Which one? What?
The Quest thing. Quest. What is that?
D'Angelo.
Help me out with this. I have not a clue.
I'll pull it up on YouTube when we're done with the thing, so I can educate you.
No.
Yeah. But you know, it's some of the stuff that I listen to sometimes, and Jay does too, and you probably like run out of the room screaming.
Is it old, like Stray Cats or what?
No.
It's not. It's modern.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Like B-52s.
No.
You don't think so? I saw them in concert the other day. Tell us a story.
But at least that's one that you do listen to that we that Jay and I listen to too, though.
Tell us one of our drives we did in Broomfield or something about Barry.
Oh.
Tell us about maybe when we went out through the dirt of the empty lots that he had purchased, maybe.
Well, that wasn't in Broomfield.
No,
that one was over at Longman. Okay, guys.
We are a Suzanne channel, so
I am just really looking forward to when this thing finally comes to trial and we get to actually hear more of what Barry's team has to say about certain goings on, and also what this new prosecution team has managed to gather up out of the information of stuff that has happened, and also being able to incorporate for our own memory banks or whatever, the stuff that we learned while we were doing our boots on the ground in this case, and just try to decipher this dumb jock who's Barry Morphew. And I guess he's not really all that dumb. He just gives that. I have to admit, he's not 100% stupid. He just seems stupid. Yeah, he just seems stupid, and he just seems so far down below Suzanne's level, because Suzanne was a communicator and all that kind of thing.
He married up,
obviously. And yeah, he married up, obviously, and so that makes him seem all that much more stupid. But I think that also caused a lot of us, me included, to underestimate him and not really figure out that he really could have been up to a lot more nefarious stuff. And that reminds me that I was going to bring out, but I didn't go get it. The last one from the last time around where we could go look at
Well,
those phone searches of
You
his.
guys can put that in the
But-
comment section
But anyway,
to remind us.
Just to look at what all nefarious things he had in his phone and why certain people are on the witness list, both last time and this time, because it turned out that person that's been busted for.
Yes, but we won't talk about certain groups of people.
Okay, we'll steer
You and
steer
I
away
know
from
what
certain
they are.
groups at the moment. But first off, a big shout out to the psychics out there, because that was one of the things that we did incorporate into our boots on the ground stuff. 'Cause I do not discount anything just because I cannot see it or just because I don't understand it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. So there was information that was given to us by psychics that said, look and see if you can see something like this, or see if something that fits this term or something, and see if that jumps out at you at all. So we kept very open mind while we were doing our boots in the ground and looking around, and that is part of the reason why we did the drives that we did and everything, was we put the footage out there public so that everybody could see it, and so that anybody that had sort of hunches, instincts, whatever, that see if that would help anybody out with their thoughts on the
Very
case.
more few.
But anyway, so
What?
we'll start with
A
Longhorn.
guy.
Yeah, and we'll start with Longhorn. Okay, we went out to Longhorn, and there was a few things that were interesting about these Longhorn estates. For one thing, and one thing about it is that the people that were brokering the deals, selling the parcels out there, they do the same kind of thing in some other states as well. And what?
Oh, I had a little itchy right here.
Oh, I thought you were talking to me. I thought you were like communicating something to me. I'm like, what?
No, I'm right here on camera.
Okay. Anyway,
A little itchy over here.
and so some of them are kind of almost like a money launderer, but they're a land launderer kind of. They buy, sell, whatever, wheel and deal properties, but they're not. But a lot of them are never like developed into actual real developments and stuff. There'll be like one or two houses that get put out there, and a lot just end up being empty lots forever and ever, that kind of deal. Anyhow, so we went out to Longhorn to see what it was that Barry had purchased, because the word was Barry had purchased this lot, and there was a couple different reasons given, and one was that he purchased this lot for a home for his mother. So anyway, we go out there and we see a whole buttload of undeveloped lots.
One house.
Not even, one house up, and the rest, the ground wasn't even really broken. It was like the work that had been done was basically scraping the roadways out of the high desert, and there were some like driveway holes, I guess is what you could call it, because it wasn't all the way a driveway either. It was just a hole in the berm that was alongside the road, designating, okay, this is the driveway of a property. And we went out there checking that all out and going, okay, so this is the property that he's purchased for his mother. Well, it's obvious that this property is not going to be a home for his mother anytime in the near future. And we checked out the zoning, and it's not a place to go put an RV, and it's not a place to put a trailer home or anything like that. This is definitely a zone for stick build, and there was one stick build that was built there, and so we're like, okay, this is going to be like a couple of years before there's a house here. So don't know what the hurry was to purchase this for his mom, and then he ended up selling it for a loss, like I think it was a $10,000 loss, and that he had been working for the developers. I'm not sure what his deal was exactly with them, whether it was actually a drawn up contract or if it was a handshake agreement. But
on a land purchase,
not the land purchase, his employment there. When we went around finding out that he did work there, that he did dirt work out there, and that he had moved those big rocks that made the like the big piles of rocks at the entranceway and at the base of some of the driveways.
Those. If he just got in his little bobcat and just kind of kicked them on down from one side of the lot to the other.
But anyway, he did a lot of that movement of earth over there, and obviously he must have used his bobcat for at least some of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then seeing that some of it is like the loose dirt and the gravel type stuff that was also on the trailer that he towed behind him all the time, like he was Linus and that was his security blanket, but it always had his bobcat with him. I mean, suddenly this guy was never seen without his bobcat. He never parked it. He never parked it anywhere. It was always with him. And anyway, he had worked out there at Longhorn, so it wasn't really a surprise when the cadaver dogs had a hit out there, and then there was the excavation at that property and everything, and then they said that there was
she did it.
Nothing.
Did you streak your hair?
Oh yeah, I streaked his hair.
Yeah, she did it.
I streaked his hair. He let me. He let me. They noticed.
I don't know if I'm gonna go purple.
He said, I don't know about this, so I gave him a couple streaks to see how he liked it. And yeah, it's not permanent, and so I just put it in there so to see if he'd get used to it. I used to get him to dye his beard and stuff.
It used to be pink and was really long, like Dimebag from Pantera.
Yeah,
remember?
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember. But anyway, where was it going?
I don't know.
Barry and the land, and okay, and so then they excavated it, didn't find anything of significance, which does not mean that there was never any deceased bits or anything like that there. It just means that there was nothing there when they searched it. Doesn't mean that that there hadn't been any transfer of cadaver or anything like that. Like, for instance, it doesn't mean that there hadn't been a grave dug and a body placed inside, and then some of that dirt got on the bucket, and then he goes and does a different job, and the dirt ends up there. That has not been ruled out as far as I know, and so that was an interesting thing about that property. And it was interesting finding out about other things that he did, like the dogs alerted at the property next to the property where they were living on Puma Path, where he had purchased and placed some trees as for landscaping, and the dogs alerted there. And of course, the tree got excavated, and of course, no remains there. But that doesn't mean that there was no contact with a deceased person there either, because Barry's very clever and he has been moving things around. And
it is a true crime guy too.
Oh yeah, he is a true crime person, and we know that he listens to true crime podcasts. And even before this happened to Suzanne, he was listening to true crime podcasts and discussing true crime with other people. And
do you think it's you?
I think Barry does not like me very much, and I'm fine with that.
I bet he listens every day.
Okay, I had another brain fart.
Do you think
the trees?
He's like, I want to be on the true crime podcast one day. Do you think that was like one of his goals?
No, but I think that he thought he was clever enough that he thought that he would be able to learn from true crime podcasts, come up with the perfect crime, commit it, and get away with it.
Yeah, but when he did all this, wasn't it like only murders in the building? Isn't that what was airing a lot? Steve Martin.
Oh, but B wasn't on yet.
No, but it'd be the perfect one for him, would it?
That's funny. But anyhow, So, there was a lot of movement of Barry. There was a lot of carting his bobcat around. There's a lot of different rural places that Barry had access to,
like the river.
And the river. So
Kitty.
there's a lot of possibilities of where
Come here.
all Suzanne
Come here,
could
Kitty.
have been.
All right.
And then
Come on.
there's
Come on.
also a question in
Kitty.
my mind of his various minions and whatnot. I mean, I don't think anybody other than him took Suzanne's life, but I don't know how many people may have either been
Okay,
brought
Kitty,
in or had
come back
inklings.
when you want to troll. That's fine.
And
we got your troll game.
oh, I got a troll. And anyhow, there's that. And then there was one of our, well, not just one. We took several trips to Broomfield and we're finding things out and boots on the ground. And some of it was like before the preliminary, and some was after the preliminary, and some during the preliminary, pretty much. Anyway, we went and we were figuring things out and finding out information such as that Barry had stayed in that hotel previously, that he was familiar with the room that he stayed in, that and it's quite possible that he requested that particular room. And I'm thinking that the reason for the request is because the scent that was already present, but I think that the scent was stronger than it would have been if it had just been from the pool itself down below that room. I think that the text message from Suzanne to Barry asking him to pick up pool cleaner chemicals, I think that was not sent by Suzanne to Barry. I think Barry sent it to himself from Suzanne's phone to make it look like he purchased pool chemicals because she asked him to. But I think that he was planning on getting the chemicals to help clean up his mess. And I think that one of the things that was cleaned in that hotel room was the boots that he was seen carrying into the hotel room. It's on the camera. He carried boots in. He comes back out and then with stuff that he then throws away. And he was asked by law enforcement what happened to those boots. And he said, oh, well, they were old boots. And I decided that I wanted the laces. I wanted to keep the laces. And then I threw away the boots. And
the boots are going to absorb all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so I'm thinking that he cleaned them and stuff, and he may have kept the laces. He may have thrown away the laces. I think that he was actually cleaning the boots or trying to get rid of any evidence on the boots before getting rid of the boots in that hotel room.
Like stones and seeds.
Mm-hmm. And anyhow, there was that. There's the drives we did going to look at the places that were listed because law enforcement had found the cameras where he had done the little dump runs, and you and I went and checked it out even more, going from point A to point B. Oh, he was here and then he was here and he was seen dumping here and he was seen dumping here. Mm-hmm. And we're going, what's along the path, remember? And we were looking and we're going, what other cameras are there? What other dumpsters were there accessible that didn't have cameras?
It didn't get a lot of attention. It's Men's Warehouse.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of attention paid to there. And
I wonder why they're keeping that so hush, because originally it was mentioned, but then you didn't hear about it anymore.
Mm-hmm. And
it's right there in the Flatiron Shopping Center.
Yeah. And so that was some interesting stuff about Barry's journeys in Broomfield and what he was doing there. And then there are just some little facts that, Iris isn't his attorney anymore. But I recall that one of the things that Iris objected to and was trying to make a point of in that wrongful arrest suit that has gone bye-bye since he's been arrested now on those charges, was that she's saying, oh, the prosecution made a big deal about him going to Broomfield, but he reserved that room a week in advance. And that really stuck out to me, that she's saying that Barry reserved that room a week in advance.
But why?
And here's some of the reasons why that stuck out in my mind. She says he rented out that room a week in advance. But Morgan, who was going to be working with him there and was supposedly going to be staying in that hotel room, Morgan didn't know about the job until the day before the job was to take place. She was told on Saturday that they were going to go up there on Sunday. But Iris is saying that it was a week before that he reserved the room. And then on the Saturday, Morgan's told that Barry's going to pick her up on Sunday evening and take her to Broomfield to stay in that hotel. But then she gets a call between 11 and noon where Barry tells her that he's already in Broomfield and she's going to have to make her own way up. And by the way, she needs to hire another guy as well. And Jeff Puckett was brought up, and then Jeff was hired and brought up there. But that's that's rushed, while Barry and Iris were saying, oh no, it wasn't rushed, it was planned. It was planned a week in advance. But also the contractor that Barry was subcontracting from didn't put in the work order or whatever for Barry to do the repair of this wall that Barry and his crew had screwed up. They hadn't okayed it yet, hadn't scheduled it yet. But then Friday, 2 days before he went to Broomfield, that Friday, Barry was told by another worker there in Indiana that worked for that company, he was told, oh, hey, the worker order came in from that person. Like, it was hearsay that the worker order came in because there actually hadn't been anything put on file in Broomfield yet, but that was just the preliminary alert to Barry that, yeah, this is going to take place soon. So Barry took that as the go-ahead and went and did it that week. But that's Friday, and that is 2 days before, not a week before. Iris made it very clear that he had reserved that room to start that job a week prior to going there. So he reserved the room before he knew that the job was going to be approved. And then the whole thing was done before any materials were ordered or delivered to the site. And, the crew, Morgan and Cassidy and Jeff, they stayed there a couple days waiting for materials to arrive, but materials had never been delivered and no equipment was ever delivered for them to work on the wall at all. They did the best that they could with hand tools, but that was not the right thing for the job. It looked horrible, and it was definitely not the right thing. And anyway, this was not the result of a planned job. This was not something that was planned in advance. This was a rush job. This was Barry's attempt at an alibi for, why he was not around Suzanne when she went missing on a bike ride. He was trying to put as much distance as possible between himself and Suzanne that weekend because he's the one that took her life, and he didn't want to be implicated in her disappearance at all. So he tried to make it seem like there was no way that he could possibly be involved in her disappearance. And it's also really telling the lies that he told. I mean, even the little lies, little things that it's like, why would you lie about something like that? For example, speaking on the phone to Martin Ritter and telling him, I'm at the job site. I'm at the site. I'm working on the job. When records, telematics, everything, GPS, the phone, all that shows that he was inside the hotel room when he was saying that he was over at the job site. And why lie? And just lots of things like that, and the and little stupid things that just were like, why would you say that? Why would you say that at all? Like, for example, being entirely too defensive when he's supposed to be just worrying that his wife is missing. Instead, he's going on the defensive. Well, yeah, I took off to go to work because it's not husband's day. And it's like, why not be like, why not be like, oh my gosh, I never should have left, or something like that, but instead, well, it wasn't husband's day. So, I went to work, and and then saying, oh, I kissed her goodbye. I talked to her and she said it was okay to go. Oh, but then I don't know if I saw her and I don't know if she was awake. And I don't know, it's like, well, how did you talk to her? And she said it was okay that morning. If you also don't know if you saw her and don't know if she was just a snoring lump or what.
He may or may not.
He may or may not have kissed her.
You can just time out those people. Don't hide them. Just time them out if you need to, Karen.
Try people being extra.
No, they're okay.
Extra?
They're just doing their freedom of speech thing.
Oh, okay. Anyhow, so there's a lot that was going on behind the scenes with all of that, and just retracing Barry's steps per se, and just seeing what was in place, what going. Okay, he went to this parking lot. Why did he go here? What else is around here? And what else could he have been doing here if he wasn't just going here specifically to throw something in a dumpster? What else could he have been doing here? And stuff like that.
Stuff in the dumpsters.
And throwing a bunch of different stuff into a lot of different dumpsters. That's pretty wonky too. And going to McDonald's to get something to eat, but then not getting to eat, but then putting something deep down into the trash can at McDonald's. That was a bit weird. You just go along with all this different weird stuff. And then there's the fact that he's claiming that he's doing all this cleaning up of his truck, but then you see the body cam footage and photographs of his truck as it was once he returned to Salida. And it's like, okay, he did a whole lot of cleaning without cleaning. There's a lot of
they say that
stuff that you would
did not exist. One of our viewers said the car wash below McDonald's.
I'm not sure.
Exist.
Okay, but then there's the one that's across the street too, though. There was a couple different places too that he could have done things at, and then also there's not a whole lot of talk about it, but I remember at the time that he had also gone to Walmart there in town and had purchased something in Broomfield. In Broomfield, he had gone to a Walmart too during all this time that he's rushing around doing this and that and basically doing everything that's not working on the job site that he had gone all the way up there to work on because, it was so crucial that he get started on doing this job. But he spent 15 minutes total at the job site. From more than one trip to the job site. And I don't know if he got food or what he got at Walmart. I just know that he made a purchase at Walmart, and I'm interested if that's actually, pertinent to the case, or if it's just
That's going to come out, Barry.
just one of the extra things that he did.
Did you get it Walmart?
And so there's just a whole lot of strange doings indeed. And we're going to be looking forward to seeing how some of the stuff, because of course I'm not spelling off everything that we came across that was odd in this case, because we don't know what stuff that
we talked a lot anyways.
We don't know. Yeah, but we talk about the stuff that people know about and that has been mentioned that's out there in public, and not so much the stuff that we came across, but either hasn't been corroborated by law enforcement, or that we're not sure whether it's something that's going to be pertinent or not. So we're just waiting to see what, if anything, is going to come of that. And it's going to be interesting, to say the least.
You guys can stop by after the video, after the live ends. Stop by and visit the video when it goes to video format. Leave your comments over there. All the live comments will disappear when the live is
for some reason.
And we'll
I think it's an update to
and revisit the.
I guess it's an update to YouTube or something, or else it's because we're using it on the phone now, or I don't.
No, everybody doesn't have that.
Oh, everybody doesn't have it anymore. Okay, and Tabasco, and so remember, November 3rd. That's the next status conference, I guess. In Barry's case, they're going to be in court, and they're going to do a little get together where they see where they stand and whether it's time to set a trial date, or if there's still stuff that needs to be worked out. I like to call it house cleaning or whatever, where they're like, oh, the paperwork issue, we need this and we need that, or we need more time. We haven't been able to read all this evidence, because that's one of the things that Barry's team was complaining about last time. Is
we have too much information.
We have too much. The prosecution just keeps giving us too much evidence, and they're giving us too much information. And
what's it, 8
and there's
terabytes,
just,
or was it more?
I forget how much it was, but they're giving us too much, and it's a fun. It's a fun comparison to back when it was the clown show led by Linda Stanley, where the defense was always saying, they didn't give us any information. They haven't given us enough information yet. They haven't given us any information. And this time they're going, they just keep giving us more information.
So that was our second story we covered on this channel, wasn't it?
I believe so. I think we did Gannon, and then we went straight into Suzanne. I don't think there was anything in between the two. And I remember thinking it was crazy because of the photo of Barry barbecuing, and he had peanut butter next to his grill, which I know that some people put peanut butter on if they're like grilling venison or something, because it tends to make it have a less of a gamey taste. But anyway, he had the peanut butter, and that was right around the same time that Letitia Stout was in El Paso County Jail complaining about threats being put in her peanut butter.
People would put threatening notes
in her peanut butter and
then send it to her herself.
They're saying threats in my peanut butter.
We have that video over on the channel.
But anyway, that was.
But we don't have any other stories tonight.
No, nothing else tonight.
Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Thank you to the awesome moderators and their troll hunting skills. And I see there's another YouTuber in here. Go ahead and stop by when this thing ends and leave your information and stop by and say hello. We'll check you out too.
Yeah. Because the comments that happen while it's live don't stay there. So introduce yourself again, and people can and a bit about your channel in the comments under the video. when it's made into, when it's not a live video, but it's the recording of the live.
But no working, no.
Yeah, but just introduce yourself, say what you are. People should be able to follow your name and go to your channel that way. And yeah.
Yes.
That's about it for tonight. I'm gonna take another drink of Tabasco and hopefully not cough on you guys.
Neo Soul Music. Tell us about that. Yeah. Neo Soul Music. That's a phrase our son uses. Neo.
Yeah, Neo. Oh, yeah, Neo Soul. Okay, at first I didn't know what you. At first I thought you were talking about Missouri. I thought you were doing Neo Show.
Oh, you have been there. No.
And I was like, what are you talking about Neo-show for?
Neoclassical is the phrase he uses.
Yeah, he uses neoclassical, and he also like blues and neo blues, and he likes some Robert